Welcome back from the summer. I hope you had a very restful one. It was a very busy one for us in the technology department. A couple of things are new in your room, but I also wanted to give you a refresher on how to hook your computers up so that everything will be running. So we have everything set up here that's ready to go. So I'm going to show you first the connections and how they go to the computer, and then after that I'll show you what connections go into the wall, into the box that you have over there. So let's go ahead and do our monitor first. So we have the computer monitor, we have the tower, and more than likely you have a box that's like this in your room that'll have 3 connections on the back of it. One of the connections is different from the other 2. So this connection right here is the one that's going to go into your computer, and its cable is slightly different. It's male on one side and it's female on the other. So what you do is you take the male end and you plug it into this blue VGA port that's on the back of your computer, and then you want to tighten that down. Then on the back of the box, that's where that part goes. Your box should also have power running to it, so you're going to have power there, and eventually you're going to plug that power into a power source. So I'm going to put that there. At this point you should have 2 VGA cables that are probably blue on each side. One of those ends goes into your box. The other end goes into your monitor. For this monitor, if you look underneath, in this area in here, there's a blue port. So this cable is just going to go into that blue port. Once again, make sure you tighten down your connections, because a loose connection will give you problems. And it'll be one of the first things that we ask is, are your connections tight? The only other thing in the back of your monitor is the power cable. Your power cable for your monitor looks like that on one end. So that just plugs into the only place that'll fit in your monitor. And then eventually you'll plug that in to a power source. Then you have one more VGA cable. This one also goes into your box. So we have a spot here in your box for it. And right now this cable is left loose, but it's going to end up going into the box that's in your wall. Alright, we have a printer for this computer. So on this printer we have a power. It looks just like the power that was on the monitor. So we're going to put that in here. The other end's eventually going to get plugged in. And then printers normally have a unique USB cable, square on one end, rectangular on the other. The square end should have a port somewhere on the printer. This one's on the side over here. So we're going to put that there. And then the rectangular end just goes into one of the free USB ports that's on our computer. So I'm going to plug it in right here. We have a mouse. The mouse has that same type of connection. So we're going to take that USB port right here. I'm going to plug it into an empty USB port on the computer. We also have a keyboard. The keyboard has the same type of connection. So we're going to take that USB connection. We're going to plug it into a port. And lastly, we have our Ethernet in order to get internet connection and network connection to our computer. This end is going to plug into this Ethernet port right here. The other end is going to plug into a port in the wall. So we'll put that to the side. And then this might be the last cable that we have. This is to take your audio and to get it from your computer up to your projector. You might remember Josh doing this last year. So that cable looks like this. It's going to go into the green port in the back of your computer. So there's a green circular port. You'll plug it into there. And All the rest of the connections that we need to do are into the box in the wall, so we will come back and show you those. Just realize that the back of this computer didn't have power running to it, just like the power cable that went to the monitor and that went to the printer. This looks the same. So that's going to go into the back of the computer, into your power strip, and then back here on the back of the computer, there's a toggle. Okay, that toggle needs to be on the straight line instead of the circle. That same toggle exists on the back of your printer over here. You have a circle and you have a straight line. So you want to make sure that they're all getting power to them. Alright, so here we have the box that's in the room in your wall, and then we have the connection for our Ethernet. So looking at those 3 cables that we had brought from the back of the computer, the first which was a monitor cable that's coming off that box. So we're going to take that. This monitor cable needs to be plugged into this one. We have the other end of the audio cable that's plugged into the green port in the back of our computer. That plugs into here. And we have an internet cable. This one needs to go into the jack that doesn't say Apple on it. So this is the jack that doesn't say Apple on it. So we're going to put it into that jack. Now, we have these original cables that were in our room. This cable right here is going to go to your document camera. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to go over to my document camera, and in the back of my document camera there's 2 ports, but one's blue and one's black. This cable goes into the blue port. Then our document camera has power that goes to it as well. That power looks like this. It's kind of weird. It'll have a part that can come off of it, so you can plug this in different countries. So we'll take one end and we'll plug it into the back end document camera right over here. And then we'll take the other end and we'll run it into our power strip. So the last thing that we'll talk about is the Apple TV that's in your room. So this only applies to the people who already had Apple TVs last year and how to set it up this year. Everybody else will be setting up your Apple TV on Thursday and Friday of this week. Alright, this is for those of you who had an Apple TV last year, and so you're going to be setting up your own Apple TVs this year. So we have our Apple TV, we have an Ethernet cable, we have an HDMI cable, and we have the power. So the power goes into the back of the Apple TV, the HDMI goes into the back of the Apple TV, and the Ethernet goes into the back of the Apple TV. Now these connections, so we have our Ethernet connection, that's going to go into the new jack that says Apple on it, so that'll plug in there. The HDMI connection is going to go into the HDMI port that's in your box, and all that we have left to do is plug it into power. So we will show you what everything looks like up and running next. Alright, now with everything powered on, we're looking at our projector, and our projector is set to one of the computer sources. One of those computer sources is the computer, and it shows it because the computer's turned on. If I change the computer source with my document camera turned on, now it shows what's in my document camera. And with my Apple TV turned on, if I hit video and go to HDMI, it shows my Apple TV is also projecting through my projector. So everything is working. The keyboard works, mouse works, projecting to the projector. So you should be up and running in your rooms. If you get to this point and you have everything hooked up and it's not working for you, give me a holler and we will see what we can do to get you up and going. Thanks.